Hello, Psych 101 students. Welcome to Module 6, Chapter 13, Learning Objective 10. We will conclude this module and this chapter with a look at temperament and personality stability. All right, so temperament refers to consistent individual differences in behavior that are biologically based and are relatively independent of learning. So kind of hardwired differences within us that come from our genetics. Life experiences may alter personality traits, but temperaments represent the innate biological structures of personality. Three personality characteristics can be considered temperaments: activity level, emotionality, and sociability. So they tend to remain more stable than other aspects of personality because they're hardwired into our genetics. Early childhood temperament appears to influence behavior and personality significantly throughout a person's development. So in the study here, researchers investigated the personality development of more than 1,000 people. And as shown in these graphs, the individuals who were rated as under control, that is, they had an under controlled temperament at age 3, were later more likely to be antisocial or to have alcohol problems at the age of 21. So they took a bunch of 3-year-olds, they rated their temperaments as being either inhibited, under controlled, or well adjusted. Inhibited means you're kind of shy and reserved. Well adjusted is kind of normal. Under controlled means like you're one of these kids that's all over the place. You're a wild child. Okay, sort of. Okay, but you're very you're very active and aren't great at controlling your emotions. Anyway, so they took a bunch of 3-year-olds and they rated them into these 3 categories, and they followed the same people until they were 21 years of age, and they looked at the number that had antisocial disorder, and you can see that the people that were more under controlled at the age of 3 were more likely to have antisocial disorder, and the people that were under controlled at the age of 3 were more likely to have alcohol problems, just showing that there's a lot of stability. Like, you can already start making predictions at the age of 3, how people, what kind of a person they're going to be at the age of 21. So this demonstrates that the biologically based temperament that you're born with has long-term effects stretching all the way into adulthood. Genetic makeup may predispose people to have certain personality traits or characteristics. Whether personality is fixed or changeable depends largely on how we define the essential features of personality. Research shows that personality traits are generally stable over time, becoming even more stable as we age throughout the lifespan. And you can see it in this graph here. So this is trait consistency. So consistency of personality, you can see it's lowest in early childhood. We're more likely to change then. But as you age throughout the lifespan, your personality becomes more and more consistent, being highest after the age of 50. Cross-cultural findings suggest that age-related changes in personality occur independently of environmental influences, and therefore that personality change itself may be based in human biology. So genes and biology cause our personalities to change in predictable ways, not based on what particular culture or society you live in, but you can expect that you will go through certain personality changes as you go through different life periods. One cross-cultural study examined conscientiousness at different ages in 3 cultures. They found that in all 3 cultures, conscientiousness increases as people age. So you can see it didn't matter whether they were looking at the German samples, the British, or the Czech samples. Overall, there was a tendency from young to old that conscientiousness increased. So it's shown, a predictable change once again in personality. It doesn't matter which particular country you're growing up within. So although personality traits tend to be relatively stable over time, there are also some predictable changes in traits over the course of the lifespan. We can all expect that our conscientiousness will increase as we age, for instance. Sorry, my mouse is a little messy and keeps double clicking. Okay. Other evidence suggests that some aspects of personality change in response to life events. According to McCrae and Costa's model of personality, personality is made up of 2 tendencies: basic tendencies and characteristic adaptations. Basic tendencies are personality traits that are largely determined by biology and are stable over time. Characteristic adaptations are changes in behavioral expression of basic tendencies based on the demands of specific situations. So although your behaviors may change during your life, they're just really different expressions of the same basic tendencies. This is what their model says, that we have certain basic built-in, temperament and personality characteristics that will determine what kinds of behaviors we do throughout our lifespan. Sure, I'm not going to do the wild and crazy things I did when I was 20 or 30, but it doesn't. But I will still show similar types of behaviors that are more appropriate for my age now, based on the stable characteristics of my temperament and personality. Situational causes of personality change. Life circumstances generally produce changes in personality, especially during emerging adulthood. Emerging adulthood is the age range of about 18 to 25 as you transition from an adolescent to an adult. For example, greater job satisfaction can decrease neuroticism over time. So neuroticism, if you remember, it's kind of like being like an anxious, stressed out person. If you like your job, you will tend to calm that personality trait and become more stable, emotionally stable. Personality changes occur as a result of the expectations and experiences associated with age-related roles. So this what they're talking about here is things like becoming a spouse, is a new role. Becoming a parent, or becoming an employee for the first time. These things we can expect that certain personality changes will be associated with these major transitional life events. In common sense terms, what this is kind of saying is that we grow up. We can expect certain changes from our adolescent years or our young adulthood years as we start to enter into relationships and have children and get jobs. We grow up and there will be some predictable changes in our personality. Other extreme life events can also change personality. As this graph illustrates here, a greater percentage of people caring for spouses dying from cancer experienced increases in personality traits considered to be positive. That is agreeableness, sociableness, and conscientiousness, compared to the people in the control group. So the ones that were caring for dying, from dying spouses, from cancer, they showed a greater increase in these positive personality traits. And this is not a surprise to me. I have always believed that we do our greatest changing and growing during our most difficult times. As crass as this may sound, major tragedies in life, such as like the death of a loved one, or divorce, or loss of a job, these provide the best opportunities to change your life and to change who you are. And it's something to keep in mind, because I know they're very painful times, but we can use them. I mean, they've already happened. We're not doing anything wrong. We can use those kinds of occurrences when something really bad happens to reinvent ourselves and to make personality changes that we want to, and to become somewhat of a better person. And that will conclude Learning Objective 10 for Module 6.